Right, okay. During the class, we're going to be spending quite a lot of time in a deep squat. So if you really struggle to deep squat with your heels on the floor, you might want to have like a magazine or some small books handy just to put underneath your heels for some of the drills. So if that's not an issue, that's fine. This is a follow along class, so everyone will be muted throughout. That's us good to go. Right, let's all get into position, guys. We'll grab the stick, put it up on our shoulders, just like a barbell. And we'll get warm before we really start. Doing our stretches. So we'll start off with some squats, just starting hips distance apart. Up and down, nice and slow. There we go. So yeah, just keeping your feet hips distance apart. We're going to go for about 15 reps or so. Keeping those heels flat on the floor, pushing those knees out. Maybe going for a little bit more depth than you would normally. Okay. Right, now every 2 squats from now, I would like you to move your feet about a foot's width wider. So we'll just work our way out to some super wide squats, pointing those toes out as far as they'll go. Good. And then we'll start working our way back in. Again, just every 2 squats, working our way back. And we're going to go all the way to feet together. And then feet totally together, up and down. Good. Okay, right, let's put the stick down to our hips. I'm just going to go side on. And we're going to do some deadlifts, just pushing our bum back, try to get a nice stretch in our hamstrings. You should have a nice flat back whilst you do this. So hips tilted down towards the floor. Just bringing the stick about halfway down your shins. Warming up those glutes, hamstrings. You shouldn't be feeling this in your lower back. So if your deadlift kind of looks like this, and you really feel it in your lower back, you know there's something you need to do with your hips. You need to tilt your hips down. Very slowly push that bum back. Keep your weight over your heels as best as you can. Okay, so we're going to go for a little bit more depth now. So you can go down with a straight back, and then you can lose the straight back just as you can touch the floor. Up and down. Good. Okay, right, let's take a couple of steps to the edge of your mat now. And we're going to do some ostrich walks. So small step forward. And again, just doing our deadlifts over that single leg. You want your weight over your front foot as you do these little steps. And you want to travel back to the other side of your mat. Good. Okay. Right, let's bring the stick down to our hips again, and we'll start with our shoulders. So just bend one arm, bring the stick all the way behind your back, and then you can bend your other arm, and we'll go in that direction, just doing these wee 360s, warming up those shoulders. Good. Okay, let's change directions. Again, just having your hands pretty wide just now. Should be relatively easy. You should feel your shoulders starting to wake up a little bit. Good. Okay, and then let's bring the stick back down to your hips. And now we're going to go straight arms overhead and then bent arms behind. So up and down, straight arms in front, bent arms behind. Good, and now very slowly we're going to go straight arms up and then try and keep those elbows locked out, and we'll go straight arms behind. The closer together your hands are on that stick, the harder it's going to be. Want to do these pretty slowly. Shouldn't feel uncomfortable in the shoulders at all, and if you really struggle with it, you can keep bending those elbows. Just a little bit of a shoulder dislocate. Good. Okay, right, now I would like you to take your left arm and I want you to do a little bicep pose. So put that left arm out, little bicep pose. Then I want you to take that stick, put it behind your arm, and then hold on from underneath. So just holding it like that. And then I want you to stand up tall, keep that elbow pointing forward, and we're just going to externally rotate that shoulder like so, using your arm underneath to pull. Just going to go for 5 reps, and then I would like you to hold for 5. 2, 1, good, and down. And then we'll swap sides. Right arm, little bicep pose. Stick behind that right arm, and again, elbow forward. We're going to go for 5. And then hold for 5. Good. Okay. Right, now we're going to go left arm behind our back, like so, sort of like a half Nelson. And then we're going to put the stick in that left hand, and you want the long side of the stick to be over your right shoulder. So you're going to end up standing like this. And then that left elbow, I want you to keep it tucked into your body, and then I want you to use your right arm to pull your left hand away from your body. So try to keep the elbow pinned and use the stick to take that hand away. Now, you might not get as much range as this. Obviously, you don't want to hurt your shoulder, so just take it easy. And just pull for 5, and then we'll hold for 5. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Again, a half Nelson, left side of the stick over left shoulder. We're going to do the same. So right elbow pinned into your body, and let your hand come behind like that. If we ever manage to have another Primal gym social, we're actually going to be the hardest bunch of people ever to lift, because everyone's going to have amazing half Nelson mobility. Good. And then hold for 5. 2, 1, and down. Okay. Right, okay, let's get stick down to our bum now, and I want your palms to be facing towards you, like so. And from this position, we're just going to do a straight arm raise, keeping your chest proud. What I don't want to happen is, I don't want you to kind of do that. I just want you to stand super proud and make sure all of the movement is coming from the back of your shoulders. So our shoulder extension. Ideally, at about shoulder width, a good goal is to try and get it to about 90 degrees. But that sort of depends on your mobility. If you're really struggling, you can go a bit wider with your hands. Good. Okay, and then we're going to pause with the stick down at our bum again. And now we're going to do some curls behind our back. So what we do is we stand up proud and then just pull, bend at the elbows, bring the stick as high as you can, and then back down. So you're just dragging it up and down, doing the best curls you can. Again, it's really going to challenge your shoulder extension. Ideally, you want to try get your hands parallel with your elbows. Big stretch there, it's quite tough. You don't want to be arching at the back too much. Good. Okay, and then just bring the stick down to your bum again. We go slightly wider with our feet, and now we're going to hinge from the hips, doing that deadlift movement. And we're going to bring the stick overhead, and we're just going to try and get our hands to face the wall behind us. Try to keep your weight over your heels. I'm going to hold this for a few seconds. Good, and then bring the stick back over. Stand up tall, and that's everything for the stick for now. So we'll just put that over to the side. Good. Okay, right, let's come down to the floor now. And I want you to go into a tabletop position. And now we're just going to really start getting that spine mobilized and also give those shoulders a bit of a rest. It's quite a hard combo doing that much shoulder mobility. So from here, we just want to push our upper back to the sky and then pull our head and bum to the sky. So as you go back and forth, really focus on your hands and how you're pressing into the ground. So when you're pushing that upper back to the sky, you should be trying to press your hands away from you, and you should really feel the stretch improve in that upper back. And then as you go ahead and bum to the sky, pull those hands and knees towards each other. You should feel a bigger stretch in your tummy muscles. So let's go back and forth, just pushing and pulling as hard as you can. Good. Okay, now we're going to go side to side. So head and bum together, squeezing those obliques to really try and get head and bum as close together as they can get. Back and forth. Good. Okay, right, let's put the two together now. So pushing up, I then want you to do a big 360, so doing the side to side and up and down at the same time. Best way to think about it is imagine you've got a big tennis ball in your chest and you're trying to make that tennis ball do a big 360. movement, like draw a big circle. Keep pushing and pulling through your hands. And then we'll change directions. Good. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the tabletop position, and I want you to raise your right knee off the floor, and I want you to bring your knee right up, and you want to try and touch your knee to your nose. So actually, in order to achieve that, you're really going to need to compress using your tummy muscles as best you can. So knees to your nose, and then kick straight back. So just going back and forth. Good. Nice and high on that kick back, and really try and get your nose to touch your knee on every one. You might have to breathe out a little bit. Squeeze those obliques. There's an element of compression in that. And then we'll swap sides. Left knee to your nose and kick back. Very good. Okay, back to your tabletop. Let's curl our toes underneath our feet. And I want you to push yourself up into downward dog. So in this position, just walk back and forth. Trying to get at least one heel into the floor at a time. Good. And just keep doing that. I'm just going to lose my socks because they're slipping all over the place. Good. So keep going back and forth. Okay, from this position, trying to push your heels into the floor, I would like you to take your right hand off the floor, and I want you to hold on to your left ankle. Making sure we're still pushing hard through that left shoulder. Heels into the floor. And then we're going to swap sides, so right hand into the floor. We're going to hold on to our right ankle. Good, okay, right, let's go back and forth from that. So just start tapping opposite hand to opposite ankle. Good. Perfect. Okay, so now I want you to start walking your hands back, and I just want you to bring yourself into a forward fold position. Just trying to get your hands down to your feet. Hold that position. Bit more of a stretch in the back of your legs. And then we're going to walk ourselves back forward into downward dog. This time you should find that you're able to be a bit more aggressive in the position. So more of a tilt in your hips, creating a bit more of a Dorito shape. Good, and again, we'll walk ourselves back up to forward fold. Hold that position. Nice, okay, so let's walk ourselves back forward again. And I want you to bring yourself into a plank now. So in that plank position, we're just going to take our left knee, place it between our hands, then we're going to sit down to the floor in our pigeon pose. We're going to spend a bit of time here. You can bring your chest to the floor, you can bring your hands off the floor. Try and get comfortable. Ideally, you should have your bum down towards the floor. And from here, you can walk your feet up. So it's a bit more of a 90-degree angle. 3 tries. Good. And then I want you to put your left hand into the floor now. Take your right hand, just have it up in the air for balance. And we're going to be pushing through our left foot and our right foot in order to push our hips up into the sky. So just pushing hard, hips to the sky, and then back down into pigeon. When you're doing this drill, I want you to try and focus on keeping the weight in your hips. Try not to make it too much about the supporting hand. Just try and keep your weight in your hips as best as you can as you twist from that pigeon. Good. Okay, so back into plank now. Let's bring that right knee between our left and right hands and just bring your bum down to the floor. And again, let's spend a bit of time here. Bring your chest to the floor, hands off the floor, and try and just work into that stretch a little bit. Okay, work that right foot up. And then plant your right foot into the floor. And then same as the last time, we're just twisting ourselves up into that single arm supported bridge, hips to the sky, keeping that weight in your hips. Good. Okay, push yourself back into a plank. Let's walk ourselves up to standing. And then just grab a space in the center of your mat. We'll go into our squats. So feet just outside of shoulder width apart. Let's go down into a deep squat. And I want you to use your elbows to push those knees out. Feet should be kind of pointed out at an angle. Spend a bit of time down here. Just a little wobble back and forth. Try and get comfy. You can plant your hands on your knees like that if you want. And just take a few seconds to let your hips stretch into the bottom of that position. Heels should be planted into the floor. Try to keep your weight as far back as you can. Not quite enough that you fall backwards, but you should feel your weight quite firmly in your heels. Right, so let's take that left hand, and I want you to hold on to your right ankle. And then we'll take that right elbow, Put it down towards the floor. If you can touch the floor, that's great. If you can't, that's okay. And then elbow to the sky, and then open up your hand. Just gonna go up and down for 5. Good. And then we'll swap sides. Right hand to left ankle, left elbow to the floor, point up towards the sky, and open up for 5. Good. Okay, hands on knees again. And this time, I would like you to put your fingers on one hand so as they point sort of up towards the ceiling. So you're twisting that hand, and then you're going to lean over to the side and push that arm out straight. Again, keeping your heels flat with the floor, just going back and forth, pushing those hands out straight, twisting those fingers up to the sky. Good. Okay, and then let's stand up, and we'll grab the stick again. And we're going to start with some overhead squats. So let's put the stick overhead. I want you to lock your elbows out. Start pretty wide, like 1.5 times shoulder width apart. Really lock out those shoulders. And from here, we're going to do some overhead squats. It's nice and slow. If you see from the side, you should be at a place where the stick ends up directly overhead. Okay, so try not to have it out here. Try to have it back there. We're just going up and down for 10. Good. Take your time. Try not to bounce out the bottom of the squat. Try to be slow. Feel the stretch at the bottom. Perfect. Okay. Now, similar to earlier, we're going to go every 2 squats. I want you to lose about a hand's width with your hands. So let's start walking those hands closer and closer together. Now, at a certain point, you're going to lose the ability to dislocate. So it's not going to be quite as overhead. It's down to you to really flex your shoulders in order to keep it overhead. Try and keep your weight over your heels and just keep working your way down until you get your biceps to your ears. Good. Spot on. Okay, we can put that stick back to the side again. And we're going to come down to the floor. And we're going to go into some can openers. So can openers, we want to go knees right up to our chest. We want to sort of lie on our side in the fetal position. And then we're going to draw a big semicircle overhead. This is a difficult room to demonstrate this in. Let me try over here. So hopefully you can see knees right up to your chest. Open out your hands and then draw a big semicircle overhead. Just going back and forth. Going for 5 reps. Okay, now what I want you to do is stay in the same position, but I want you to straighten the leg that is underneath. So for me, I've got my right leg on top, so my right leg is down to the floor. I've straightened the bottom leg, and I'm going to continue trying to keep my right knee on the floor as I draw those semicircles. Good. And then from that position, I want to try and straighten my right leg, hold it in my hand, and do the same again. So one leg straight, one leg bent to 90 degrees, and just go for another 5. Good. Okay, let's flip over, try the other side. So just start with your knees up to your chest. Again, doing your can openers. For 5. And then bottom leg straight, top leg, knee to the floor. Good. And then straighten that left leg or whichever leg's on top. And again with a straight leg. Good. Okay, let's lie flat on our backs now. And you'll recognize this from GST class if you've been the other day. But I want you to lie flat on your back and I want you to get one leg straight. Okay, so one leg straight, lock out that quad, lock out that foot. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our hands overhead and then keeping our left foot planted on the floor, we're going to sit up and try and get ourselves as close to that top leg as we can, just compressing at the top. Go for 10 reps. Once you've done 10, you can swap sides, trying to get that leg to 90 degrees or so, and go for another 10. Good. Okay, flip over. And we're going to go chest to the floor. And I want your left hand out diagonally to your body. And I want your right hand to your side. And from there, you're just going to push yourself over, twist, and get a big stretch across your chest. And then we'll swap sides. Same on the other side. Right hand diagonal, left hand close into your chest. Push yourself over. Good. Okay, let's go back over to our left side. This time I want your left hand up to a sort of half push-up position. So elbows up off the floor, then twist yourself over. And then back over to the other side, right elbow up off the floor and twist over. Good. Back onto the left side. This time your elbows planted into the floor and at 90 degrees. Push yourself over that arm, much bigger stretch across your chest. And same on the other side, right arm at 90 degrees, twist over. Good. Okay, let's push ourselves up and we'll finish with our wrist stretches. So hands up towards the ceiling. We're just going to try and get your elbows to 90 degrees. So on a big stretch in your wrists here. And then from this position, I want you to bring your right elbow down towards the floor. Make a tight fist with your right hand. And then slowly pull that right hand up. Feel a much deeper stretch in your forearm. And then we'll go same on the other side, left elbow down towards the floor, make a tight fist, and then slowly pull that elbow up. Good. And then palms to the floor. I would like you to just keep your fingers flush with the floor and then pull your palms up and down. And then we'll finish with another little wrist stretch. So just get your right thumb and just push it forward and down and hold it flush with your forearm. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Left thumb forward and down. Try and get it flush with your forearm or as close to it as you can. Good. That's us done, gang. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Can everyone just give me like a little thumbs up to the camera? I'm just gonna put up on social media. Ready? 3, 2, 1, thumbs up. Boom. Excellent. Thanks for coming, guys.